guys, interested in boosting metabolism? Then this is the video for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Yeagley. Welcome to Sage Health TV. Today, I'm super excited to have a special guest. He is a fitness and nutrition expert and also our Chief Marketing Director.
What's up, everybody? Barry Napier here. Super excited to be here. And before I was in marketing, I actually was a professional coach and nutrition specialist. And this was one of my areas of expertise and passions. So I'm pumped to be on here today and talk to dudes about how to boost metabolism.
Absolutely. So yes, so I think this is good. We have a subject matter expert here on metabolism in men. So first of all, so what is metabolism? Basically, it's just the rate of burning the food that you eat, either to live. So either you're going to burn it and you're going to be even, or you're going to store it, And so most people, when they're saying, hey, I want to boost my metabolism, they're talking about usually like they want to be able to eat more, so boost their metabolic rate, or they're looking to lose fat, or lose weight. And so usually when people come in here, that's what they're talking about. They're like, I'd like to be fitter.
Almost always, yeah. I think when we think about metabolism in and of itself, that's not really a goal anybody has. You don't wake up in the morning and be like, I just want to get that metabolism going. What you want to do is you want to have a certain look, right?
Yeah.
Typically, you want your body to look a certain way. You want your clothes to fit a certain way. You want to have a certain level of energy.
Yeah.
And you might want a certain level of kind of vitality, the ability to do stuff, right?
Absolutely.
To go, adventure, to lift weights, pick up kids, all those, swing from the trees or whatever, Tarzan style.
Yeah.
That's usually what we're talking about when we talk about metabolism.
Exactly. So yes, so I would say we definitely here when we have men come in and we're asking about that, and we definitely treat men here. I know sometimes, totally understand some men want to see a male doctor, but that's not always the case. So if you're interested, definitely come in, let us help you. So one of the first things we start with, like when somebody comes to see us, in addition to all the other things we'll talk about, is testosterone measurement. Mm-hmm. So this has got to be, if you're running deficient in testosterone, you are likely, it is absolutely impacting your metabolism, and your ability to burn fat, and also your energy, but also, libido, and there's cognitive stuff like, depression is linked with it. So many other reasons to get your testosterone checked. But one thing I want to point out here, beyond like optimizing it with like medication, which you can absolutely do, many times, working on your fitness and nutrition can actually shift your metabolism and testosterone levels. So
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I have dealt with low testosterone, low T personally, and it was interesting. It was during a time where I would have considered myself maybe to be in the fittest shape of my life, and I was CrossFitting 5-6 days a week. I was on a paleo, strict hardcore. I was like a paleo, just hardcore paleo Nazi. I would just freak out on people. I'd knock bread out of people's hands. That was a complete.
Glad you never did that to me.
No,
really.
It was over the top. I can't believe I still have friends left from that period. I'm sorry if you were my friend during that period. But yeah, it was during that period where I was working out high intensity interval training, lifting heavy weights, had very low body fat percentage. I looked good, but after years of going through that, not really eating a carb for years, I started to notice a huge wear and tear, like mental energy, libido down. I was feeling like I couldn't make gains anymore. My energy tanked. I was like, I just woke up and I said, something's wrong with me. And I got my blood work done and my T levels, and I was like 30, 32, 33 or something. And my T levels were like the levels of like a 92-year-old man.
Oh my God.
They were super low, right? I was just bottomed out. And so I had explored getting T shots, going to one of these men's health clinics, right? And tried that out and did that for about 6 months. And quickly realized that was not a long-term solution. Like I didn't want to have to be giving myself injections of testosterone, and I just felt like there had to be a better way. And of course, that led me down a path to really understanding more how testosterone works in men and looking at the impacts of our lifestyle and food, exercise, sleep, all those types of things, and have been now successful in kind of rebuilding that and normalizing my T levels. And I just want to say, if you're out there and you're feeling that low energy, you're feeling like you're working out and you're not seeing gains, or if your libido sucks and you just don't have much desire, that could all be very symptomatic of low T, and you shouldn't be ashamed of it. I mean, it's very, very common in men these days with stress, with workload, with diet, lifestyle factors, all these things can just destroy your T levels.
Absolutely. I mean, the thought is actually over 50% possibly of men in the US actually have low T levels, which is crazy. Like if you think about that, that is a huge amount of men that have a problem. And actually something you brought up too, I think is really important, that when also if fat intake is low, that's going to impact your hormones as well. So if for some reason you are really restricting fat, then you don't, because testosterone is made out of fat, that can, something that you could work on, of course, within the scope of your diet. And then you mentioned something else like sleep. And there are really good studies on like deep breathing exercises actually done through Harvard, and just rest. That's it. Like that's all they changed, and testosterone went up. So lots of options. So come in and get that measured. So next we're going to talk about, we're thinking about metabolism. Muscle always will increase. More muscle will increase metabolism. And so, if this is something that sounds good to you, building more muscle, it will help. And so I'm going to pass this one over to Barry, because this is his area.
I'm a big fan. I'm always talking about building some muscle mass, both for men and for women. I think it's one of those things that when we're looking to achieve a certain level of vitality, health, energy in our life, and a certain look, muscle can really help us get there. And I like to joke with people about being skinny fat, and if you're a friend or a family member in my circle, I probably, like many times I've been like, you're looking a little skinny fat, right? And it's like you're like so embarrassed by that. But like, don't be embarrassed by it. But what I'm saying is now's a good time to work on gaining muscle mass, because it's a little bit harder than we think it is. I look at various different kind of programs out there that people do. Things like an Orange Theory Fitness. Now, Orange Theory Fitness might be great for like recomping, losing some body fat, but the types of weight training you're going to do in those types of lightweight like classes really isn't going to contribute to much muscle gain for most people. What you really need to do is have a program, a resistance overload program, where you're systematically adding weight on, and you need to do these compound kind of multi-joint lifts, right? And you really need to do that typically in a gym. So it's hard to get that set up at home. I do have one from COVID. We built a home gym, crazy home gym. But even I want to get into a gym just to be able to get that diversity of exercise. But that's really a kind of a key piece. And so that comes down to having a plan that adds weight over time, right? So each week to week you're adding weight, or you're adding reps, or you're adding time under tension. And these are the factors then that can contribute to muscle growth. Now, of course, a big part of muscle growth also comes down to diet. So we'll talk about that in a sec, but highly, highly encourage all the guys out there, never too late to start building some muscle mass. You could be in your 60s, 70s, you could be in your teens, whatever stage of life.
Absolutely.
Highly recommend it. Get started. And there's tons of online resources here, basic programs. There's like so many that you just Google building muscle mass for beginners if you're a beginner, and you come up with a lot of great programs.
I can attest
or
to that.
Or hire a coach. Like get a coach. I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, every gym has personal training, and it's a great, setup. Get yourself set up for a 2 or 3 month package to get started. Have some accountability, have some structure, have some programming. Or there's stuff like Industrious, my favorite CrossFit gym here in our area, does a phenomenal job, and they take care of all that programming for you. You just show up and work your butt off. And they build in resistance training into their program.
I love that. I love that. That's a great idea. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because like even now coming into diet, like when we're thinking about, coming back to having a coach, and somebody to guide you. And so definitely with exercise, I think with diet as well, especially if you haven't found something that works for you, and I do want to say that, there is, like some people would say, oh my gosh, keto is like the way that I lost weight and I maintain it, or, intermittent fasting, which we'll talk about, but, not everything works for everyone, so having somebody to kind of talk you through, and I think accountability with diet is key as well,
It is. And I think diet's even harder than exercise. I mean, for most people, when it comes to building an exercise habit, it comes down to establishing a time in their day, right? Where is it going to consistently happen? Because it's all about consistency. You go to the gym one day, nothing happens.
Right.
You build a gym habit of 2-3 times a week, and a year from now, with the right programming training, you're going to transform your body in incredible ways without any question. So it's about consistency, and it is about knowing what's right for you. But food's even harder than building an exercise habit, because food is connected to so much of our life, right? It's connected to our schedules, connected to our family, our friends, our social circles. We have preferences, we have cravings, we have desires, we have all these things. Food oftentimes we use it to change our mood, our mental state, our emotional state. So food is tricky.
Yeah.
And then everybody has an opinion about what the right way is, right? It's like the
Right.
keto
We might
guys
have some
like
opinions.
keto,
Yeah, right.
or the paleo,
Yeah.
the intermittent fasting people. Like everybody has a different approach that they say is the way.
You know what I would say though, in working with people just over the years, that it seems like no matter what the approach is, it's like accountability to me always seems like to be the key piece. Having somebody to check in with, and whether, say if somebody is doing Weight Watchers. I know that's not sexy,
but it
you're like,
works.
it works. It actually really, really works. And I think it's that tracking, it's the accountability. And I also want to say, like you were talking about being a food Nazi, like I don't think you have to be there. Like you can, you need to allow yourself some grace, I think, and like have like a cheat time scheduled, and or buffalo wings or things like that.
Yeah, my favorite. No, I've done every possible diet that you can do, and have tried them all. And really, what's happening, the underlying mechanism for food really comes down to some core basics. So whatever it's dressed up as, keto, paleo, 30, Weight Watchers, zone diet, South Beach, North Beach, West Beach, Greek, Mediterranean, Chinese diet, blue zone diet.
Excellent list, right?
And it just goes on forever. Like,
That's
all of them, the core, right, is this concept of energy, calories, right?
Yes.
And then not all calories are created or energy is created equal though, right? You have proteins, carbs, and fats. So you have macronutrients. And what we typically don't understand as people is what our macronutrient ratios look like in a daily basis, what we're actually eating.
Yeah.
So when we have extra body fat, we have maybe low muscle mass, we have low energy. Typically, those are indicative of us having too much carbs, too much fat, both of which in their way are energy sources, amongst other things they do. But I like to think of them as both kind of two different types of energy sources, and we're typically low on protein. So I highly recommend that everyone at some point in their life work with a macro coach where you actually weigh and track and measure all of your food for a few months, and that coach works with you to give you very customized, tailored, like I want you to eat this much protein a day, this much fat a day, this much carbs a day, get a certain amount of activity in each week, right? Could tie in with your exercise program. And that can create transformational impact for people and really open your eyes and help you understand what food is made of.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we have it's different, but we have some programs where we walk people through cleanses or HCG, and it's the same thing. You're actually weighing and measuring and looking. And what I find when people do that, they get a really strong understanding of like, oh my gosh, this amount of protein has this many calories and this much fat. And because if you're blindly doing it, like if you've never done that, it could be like if you're eating something, you see calories on the back of a label, you're like, oh, I know if I eat this many nuts, maybe I'm getting this many calories. But yeah, most people don't really understand, what like maybe 1,500 calories really should look like in whole food.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a surprising large amount of food. Like when you look at 15, 18, 2,000 calories, if you just look at a standard 2,000 calorie diet of real food, without
it's a huge amount.
It's a tremendous amount of food. I mean, like piles of potato, huge piles of meat you're eating or whatever. It is a lot of food. So highly recommend when it comes to looking at metabolism, muscle mass, this whole equation for men and women, is finding a macro coach or a macro program that you can follow that has kind of adjusted macros based on your specific situation, that also has an accountability factor built in, and that can help guide you along the way. Highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we touched on most of these. I think that, just a couple things, the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting is basically another way of thinking about time-restricted eating. And so it tends to be more effective, the shorter your eating window is. And that's related to, the outcomes of intermittent fasting, meaning like you're absolutely not eating anything, that has calories during that window of fasting. What they found is that just some really incredible things. So definitely metabolism goes up, inflammation goes down, actually, cardiovascular risk, insulin levels drop, and insulin is what drives fat to go into the cells. So, if your insulin levels are staying low, that's really helpful, for a weight program. And then overall, what they found is that appetite decreases as well, and so people feel better, they have more energy. It really can be quite incredible. And so I would say the minimum amount of like fasting is 12 hours. Ideally, you're at 14 hours of fasting, but then it gets just great benefits from there.
It's a cool thing to try. And I would highly recommend people check out intermittent fasting as well. It's something that people who are really big proponents of it have a kind of a almost near religious kind of fever and belief in it.
Yeah.
And it can work great. I've did an intermittent fasting lifestyle for a long period of time, for almost 2 years, and enjoyed it. Thought it was fantastic. But I also have embraced a lifestyle where I'm eating every few hours, and that also works equally as well for all the other things. So it can be very beneficial if it's right for you.
Yeah.
I tend to find that when I was in nutrition coaching myself, that intermittent fasting was something I very strongly favored from a lot of men, more so than women.
Interesting.
And or the time differences were different. So I noticed that for some of my female clients, the eating window needed to be a little bit bigger. Just they started to really, their energy started bottoming
Like
out.
a low blood sugar type.
Yeah, like low blood sugar. Where I found that oftentimes for the guys, we could get into these 8-16 windows, right? Basically, where you're 16 hours of the day you're not eating, and then you're eating for a small block, an 8-hour block, basically.
Yeah, I would agree. And, and usually people kind of work their way there. And the other cool thing I found in the research is that intermittent fasting actually can still work for you or give you benefits, even if you're not doing it every day. So,
you can just do it once or twice a week, and that's a great place to start.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So I would definitely, I'm one of those fans of intermittent fasting, right?
You should try it. You should try it a couple, it is a cool thing. Do it a month, try it 1 day a week. It can be really cool.
Yeah, it's great. And then just making sure you're not eating a lot of sugar. That's pretty obvious for most people. Okay, well, let's talk about vitamins. This might be a little more of my area. Some of
this
it.
Is your area.
But I don't know. I mean, you also, I can talk green tea, coffee, like caffeine.
Yep.
So that's something I know that you can speak to.
Yeah, you have those type of stimulants, right? That kind of just kind of speed it up, and that does. I mean, there's a thermic effect of food, and then certain supplements or nutrients here can also kind of increase that thermogenesis effect, right?
Yeah,
and speed up your
exactly.
metabolism a little bit, and I think that's good.
Yeah, and that's the caffeine. I wouldn't say, to rely on it, because that can be a problem if there's too much, but, as far as the adrenal glands, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's there.
It's just fine to bring it in. Capsaicin is another, so spicy, actually has been found, like people who do spicy food on a regular basis, there was a study, they burned 50 extra calories a day. And that might not seem like that much, but if you're doing other things that add 100 and something because your muscle is growing, or you're doing that intermittent fasting, like it really can add up. It's not hard to do.
It can add up over time. Yeah, exactly.
So then the other thing I would say is B vitamins. So crucial. I am such a fan of B vitamins. So what they do basically at the cellular level, they give you energy, give your cells energy. And so metabolic rate always goes up when your cells have more energy. So I can't tell you how many people I test and they're deficient. Like so many people are deficient. And so a simple B complex is a great place to start, but also having them measured.
This is where I've found a lot of benefit of really having a personalized plan. So I think most people approach vitamins and supplementation very haphazardly, in the sense that maybe you read an article or you listen to a podcast or you see something, or you just kind of grew up thinking you should take a multivitamin this or whatever, or you're at Costco and something looks cool. I mean, so it's kind of a random approach to supplementation.
Yeah, very true.
It's very, and I'd say that's where 99, unless you work with a naturopathic or an integrative functional medicine doctor who builds a plan for you, or unless you yourself become obsessed and kind of start fitting the pieces together.
Right.
Chances
it's
are
hard to do. It takes a lot.
It's called a lifetime of education. Right? It's called a doctorate degree, right? So this is where I've recognized a huge change for my supplementation path, and working with Angela and working with the team here at Sage to have a customized plan for myself that can really help fill in both nutrient deficiencies, because even if you are a whole food eater and you eat, there's still huge nutritional gaps, right? So like you're fooling yourself if you think just because you're eating organic and healthy foods all the time that you're getting everything you need. You're not, right? And then you also have all these genetic pathways, right? And kind of those unique and individualized aspects of a person's biology that then can also really benefit from a customized plan. So that's where I'm 100%. I would almost tell people, don't do anything. Or just get your multivitamin and maybe some B12. But don't spend a lot of money on it.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yes.
Because a lot of times it's going to be waste. I'd say go get a plan built. Get your blood work done. Get the testing done.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100%.
You're right. Pumped up.
Yes, there's some genetic testing that has to go, like MTHFR and others that relate to your B vitamin need, and which again loops back to that metabolism and your energy. And
ties back into the testosterone
yeah,
production and
absolutely,
your hormone production as
yeah,
well.
absolutely, yes. So I know, coming full circle, right? So those Bs, I mean, again, a lot of reasons to need them for your brain and for other aspects of healing of your body. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan. Come in for that. Last thing is just vitamin D. This is really like a superstar. I mean, really, everybody in Washington has to be on vitamin D, and pretty much everybody of like a normal adult size needs to be on 5,000 a day. Most of us need to be on more than that, actually. The cool thing is that when people had normal levels, when they tracked over time, they actually had less fat in their abdomen. And I know for some people that's a problem area, right? So they're like, oh, that's where I always tend to store it. And actually vitamin D can help. So another reason to get it tested.
And vitamin D has a lot of impact on our immune system as well, right?
Yes,
Not to
that's
talk
right.
about too many topics here, but I mean, just tying it all together, vitamin D is like it's a heavy hitter, right? It's one of those, one kind of getting the right dosage has impact on a lot of different body systems.
It's incredible. And actually we just did a video on vitamin D in its use and prevention, or I shouldn't say prevention. Like,
naturally boosting your immune system.
There you go, naturally boosting your immune system. Yes, that's exactly what it does. And some really good studies around that on viral infections. So you should definitely check that out. Yeah.
It's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Thank you. So I believe that's it. Well, the last thing, actually, I'm just going to mention this briefly, is that, there can be other reasons that you have slow metabolism. Everybody thinks of thyroid. I will tell you that most times it's not your thyroid. Most people come in and go, I just know this is it. I've read all this stuff. Yes, thyroid, absolutely. If you are low thyroid, it will absolutely slow your metabolism down and make you feel horrible, But actually, I mean, surprisingly, most people have normal thyroids when they come in here. And it's everything else. It is the low testosterone, and it's the vitamin deficiency, and the adrenals are tanked just because, of stress, and so, most people think when they're tired, or again, they're just like, I don't have the energy to, to work out and to get my metabolism going. It's really, we need to look at everything. For most people, it's not just one thing. Every once in a while we kind of score and go, it is the thyroid, it's low, this is it, we're going to change this one thing, you're going to be amazing. But most times it's everything else, It's all in addition.
So this is where I keep preaching this. I'm not going to stop. This is where you need a personalized plan, something that's dialed into you and your specifics. And that tracks all your history and kind of all that. I mean, there's so many interesting factors. We've talked about heavy metals. We've talked about your environment. All these things all come together to create your metabolism, and that can help you get to your goals or prevent you from ever getting to your goals. I just say, remove as many obstacles as you can, get a personalized plan built, and work with an integrative or functional med doctor who can really do that for you. It's changed my life, and I believe it's the way to go. It is the way.
Yeah. Thank you. That was awesomely said. Right. That's right.
Not paid to make that testimony.
Not paid. Okay. Well, right.
On the payroll, but not paid for that testimony.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully you found some value here. Lots of good things. Love to work with you. Unfortunately, Barry is not taking nutrition and fitness clients at this point. But I might be able to relay a message to him.
Yeah,
if you have a question.
If there's some specialized kind of help that you're looking for, you can give us a message, and that can get through to me, and I have a lot of different resources out there that I can recommend.
We could definitely send you. Okay, thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next time.